Hello and welcome to Fact of the Matter 2012. I'm your host, Dan Bixler. Tonight we are joined by our very special guest, the Chancellor of the Apache System, John Cavanna. Thank you for joining us, John.
Thanks, Dan. Great to be here.
Hey, no problem. All right, so first of all, we'll just ask this question just for some people at home and everything, and just have a nice little sit-down interview type of deal. So first off, how long have you held the position, and how exactly did you acquire this position?
Sure. I came into the position the 1st of July, 2008, after a national search, and I was selected by the Board of Governors of the state system after having served 6 years as president of the University of West Florida in Pensacola.
All right, very interesting, very interesting. And so what was when was the first time that you had heard of the possibilities of a strike from the Apache system and everything?
Well, there's been talk for a good while, and I understand that there's been a lot of concern from the students over several weeks now, and wanted to make sure that the students understand that we also share that concern. And what we're trying to do in the conversation and negotiations with the faculty union is to come to a good agreement for both sides. But keep in mind that currently we get about 75% of all of our revenue from tuition and fees. So as we negotiate the contract, it's right in front of us where most of our revenue comes from, and that's you. So in coming to a fair agreement and talking to students about their concerns, we want to make sure that students understand that we're aware that they pay most of the bills, and that's a big factor in our coming to a good agreement and good settlement with the faculty union.
Right, right. And so you're saying that basically the students are the people that are funding you guys, basically, essentially, or at least a very large majority compared to the state or something like that funding you guys.
That's right. About almost 3/4 of our revenue come from students and their families through tuition and fees, and the state provides a little bit more than 25%.
So what exactly is your role in the midst of this looming strike? I mean, there's talks about it and everything, but what exactly are you guys doing behind your doors with all these talks going on?
Sure. One of the things that we're trying to do is to achieve a fair agreement with ABSCUF in the same way that we have achieved either completely agreed upon or tentative settlements with the other 6 unions in the system. What do we mean by that? What we mean is there are salary increases in all those other agreements, and we've got at least a conceptual understanding with ABSCUF about that. And each of the other unions also understand that the economic situation of the country and the Commonwealth is and has been difficult. We need to be mindful about costs to students. And each of the other contract agreements that we've come to have included some understanding on the part of the unions. For example, redefining how overtime is paid, redefining how work assignments are made, how job classifications are done. And so in the conversations we're having with ABSCUF, we're looking for similar kinds of agreements with the faculty that we've gotten from the other 6 unions.
So would you say that they're more looking for changes in like a general spectrum, or are they looking for very specific changes to the agreements?
I think it's fair to say that just like we did with all the other unions, we're interested in exploring a number of different possibilities. We've explored that, as I indicated, with our other 6 unions, everything from overtime to job classifications. So what we're trying to do is to identify those areas in which we can mutually come to an understanding and agreement that these are areas where we can take a look at costs, and we can do what we can to try to minimize the impact to the students.
And as you were saying before, with the economy and everything like that, I mean, things like the fiscal cliff coming up there and everything like that, how big of a role do all of those economic factors have in these kind of negotiations?
Well, not just the fiscal cliff, but just changes at the federal and the state level have a major impact. For example, the federal government has changed the number of semesters that students are allowed to get Pell Grants It
Oh,
used to
okay.
be 18 semesters, now it's only 12. So that puts some pressure on us as the state system
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that students are able to make good progress toward degree, and that's something that I think we and the faculty agree that we need to make sure that that happens. At the state level, 1 out of every 7 of our students lost their FIA support this year
Mm-hmm.
due to cuts in the state. We're hopeful that if the economy turns around and the fiscal cliff does not happen, that the funding for student financial aid will increase. Ideally at the state level, but also let's hold the line on Pell Grants so that we don't see any more slippage there in eligibility or the maximum award possible, because that's what keeps over a third of our students in school.
Yeah.
Or those federal programs and FIA as well as federal guaranteed student loans.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I mean, I know that I personally am a student that is affected by those kind of grants and everything. So yeah, definitely. And I did, as you said, I did see as well a decline in the money and stuff like that from all that stuff. Like you were saying, those kind of changes do have a big effect on all of us here on the individual level. When you guys are discussing this stuff and everything, like, what is it that, like, is it like AppScuff has representatives that are there along with you, and then you guys are basically just hacking it out over whatever topic it is for that day?
Sure. Each side or AppScuff and the state system have a negotiations team.
Okay.
And each team has a lead negotiator.
Mm.
And it kind of varies from meeting to meeting. Sometimes there's a specific topic that we talk about. Each side might share some data or some information about that topic. Other times it's a more general discussion, sharing of ideas, sharing of proposals, mm-hmm. Answering questions about those proposals. So generally speaking, it varies from meeting to meeting. Usually there's an agreement ahead of time as to whether it's going to be a special focus or a more general discussion.
All right. And are you allowed to discuss like you said before, the different topics and everything, but is there like any topic that really is at the forefront of what they're pushing at all or anything?
Well, as you may know, we've been posting for about the last 5 weeks what we have proposed at the bargaining table on our website.
Okay.
You can get to it off of our homepage, and most of the conversation is around issues pertaining to healthcare and to distance education and things of that sort. We have over the course of time come to a number of what are called tentative agreements on other aspects of the contract. And so we're down to, I think it's fair to say, a handful of issues that, I think they're tough issues on both sides.
Right, right.
But I think that, you can look at what we've proposed on our website, and we update that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
We'll be putting another update in the next day or so. So people can keep track of where we are through that. Mm-hmm. And AppScuff, I'm sure, is doing the same to make sure that their members are informed and other people can find out what they're saying as well.
All right. And do you have a hand in the plan for what happens if the teachers do go on strike or anything?
Well, there's, as I said in the beginning, we're very sensitive to students' concerns. Mm-hmm. We have been working primarily with the campuses. And each campus is developing its own plans because every situation will be individual. So we want to make sure that that if students have questions, there's an individual point of contact mm-hmm. For students on each campus. We've been providing that information as students write me or write other people. Mm-hmm. We've been letting students know who those points of contact are, and the individual campuses on their websites are providing updates as well.
All right. And so how would the strike actually affect your job then? Like, what would be the first thing that you would have to do if they announced that there was a strike going to happen?
Well, that's a little speculative right now because, first off, as far as I know, there's not been one called. Mm-hmm. A lot depends upon when, under what circumstances, and everything of that sort.
Right.
That's why we're working with the individual campuses and each individual campus is working directly with students to keep everybody informed on a regular basis.
All right. So, like, I know that you guys are just basically working towards compromise and everything. Are there like any issues at all that you guys are more like almost polar opposites on or anything? Or is everything pretty much just in a gray area and you guys are all just kind of trying to meet each other halfway on all the points?
Well, I think we've had a number of discussions on the issues that I named earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fair to say that there's been some movement on many of those issues on both sides. I continue to be optimistic that we're going to reach an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we're taking a look at what's possible. ABSCUF is taking a look at what's possible. And I have confidence in our joint ability to reach a good settlement.
All right. This is more of a personal question for me, not so much, I guess, for us, just because I was just wondering more so. Do you have people that are, do you know anybody or have any friends that are like involved with like the ABSCUF or part or the teacher part that like come to you and try, like, does anybody ever come and talk to you like on more of like a personal level about like their issues at all?
Well, I do regular campus visits, and that gives me an opportunity to talk with students, talk with faculty, talk with staff.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing that ever since I arrived here in 2008. So over the course of those nearly 5 years, I've had the wonderful opportunity to have quite a lot of conversations with all different kinds of people on campuses, different backgrounds, different constituencies.
Mm-hmm.
And so over that period of time, we've had a broad range and lots of good, solid conversations. So I would say yes.
All right. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, thank you. And we would love to have you back at all if you would be willing anytime in the future.
Sure. And good luck on your exams this week.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. For all of us here at the BUTV studio, I am Dan Bixler. May the vote be yours.